Okay. Obviously after watching the film, very pleased with a lot of the game, and I felt like our coaching staff did a really good job putting us in a position to be successful. I felt like our players had a great week of preparation. We're very confident to go down there and play well. You always know it's going to be difficult and challenging, and we embraced that challenge, went out there and hit it head on and played a very good football game, and really appreciative to get away with a victory there and get back here and get back to work. And now, we talked about last week increasing that intensity, and we're going to continue to focus on that, continue to focus on ourselves, continue to improve and become a better football team. And this week we play Youngstown State, and that'll be another great challenge. That's a team with a very deep history of winning. Very good 1AA football program that's won an awful lot of games. It's won a lot of national championships that I've followed very closely. Obviously during the Tressel years and how good Coach Tressel did, and my Uncle Bob being a longtime assistant coach there and winning many national championships with Coach Tressel. It's a program that I have a lot of respect for, and looking forward to the opportunity to compete against them here this Saturday, and really looking to get back on the practice field today and continue to build, continue to improve for a very long season.
Mark, in the talking, there was a word you called indicator. Could you clarify that, please?
Pardon me?
The word called indicator. There was no indicator. Can you clarify that?
Talking about on the targeting? Yeah, so an indicator is the exactly what they're looking for, whether it was crown of the helmet, whether it was a launch, and so those are indicators. Whether the player was defenseless or not, and that's what they're talking about with an indicator. Whether it was the crown or whether he launched, and the area in which they hit him. Did they hit him in the head? Did they hit him below the knees? The indicators that they're looking for.
Chris will be back for the Ole Miss game. How do you handle them the next 2 weeks going forward, and what's it like to kind of...
How'd you know that? I just found out 10 minutes ago. Literally. So how do I plan on what?
Well, what's it like to kind of move past that, and how do you get him geared up?
Well, we've been prepared to, handle this situation for weeks now. And so we've been, getting the other guys ready, continuing to progress, and also keep him in shape, get him reps when we can. Chris is wonderful because he wants to, he's competing on scout team. He goes down there, gets his reps down there. He's willing to do scout team, special teams. He's doing whatever he can to stay in shape, get those movements down with the run game, and continue to take reps with the first and second team offense when he can in certain situations. And so he's staying active and getting ready to go, and we'll continue to build with the running backs we have available.
Now that it's final, what can you say about the situation in terms of why he was
That
out?
he'll be back at Old Miss.
Was that your suspension, or was it, there was a NCAA report last week?
Or Steve, who picked that number, I guess?
I really don't want to comment on that.
No.
It is what it is. I realize you all have a job to do and everybody wants to dig at it, but it is what it is. He'll be back the Old Miss game, and we will be more than happy to welcome him back and have him go compete when he can. But right now we're prepared to play Youngstown State.
What's the latest on Jalen?
Jalen, he will do some more evaluations, but again, as I said after the game, it doesn't look good. It looks like it's an injury that'll keep him out.
After looking at the film, what did you see from the offensive line?
Just like most of you saw, much more consistent in the second half. I felt like we settled down. There were some guys that settled in, got their feet on the ground, started playing a little more physical, targeting the right guys. with our play actions and boots and things of that nature, it slowed them down a bit. Gave us some access to have some success in the run game. And so you put those things together, and we'll continue to build on that.
How important was it having Jordan Wright back Saturday?
Yeah, it was very important. I think Jordan just, as we talked about the experience that he has, the length that he has on the edge, the energy that he brings, the experience, it was really good having him back.
You use the tight end a lot on offense. I'm sure that made Vince happy.
Absolutely. Vince and my mother. So, we have good players. It fits really well with this offense. And again, if everybody's going to play that downhill, there'll be some play action in there to keep them honest.
How much did they help in the run game? I mean, everybody focuses on them receiving, but how much did they help in the run game Saturday?
They helped, but they're still a work in progress. We need more out of them. We need them to continue to strain, continue to fundamentally, play the right way in the run game and blocking schemes and target the right guys and finish blocks and things of that nature.
With the offensive line, that difference that we saw in the second half, was it more scheme or was it more the guys just stepping up on what you had at college?
A little both. We're looking at options, looking at what's there, what's the right sets to put our guys in a position to be successful. And it's also them, again, getting stronger, playing with a better base, targeting the right guys and finishing some blocks.
After you looked at the tape, how did Corson hold up?
He held up just fine at left tackle. Yeah, he did.
Mark, what's it say to go in there and you talked all week about a hostile environment? One play clean and until the very end, you had no pre-snap penalties, I think no holdings.
Yeah, it was really, really clean. Yeah, I think you're right. I think there was one penalty up to the second to the last play, or right at the end there. But that says a lot. We really worked hard to put our players in a position to be successful. We, you obviously work crowd noise, but the communication that we had during the week, I thought our coaches did a really good job. Will came to me early last week and said, he wanted it loud at practice, because he understands, when he's on the road, just the communication from the huddle, regurgitating and spitting out the entire play call. There's some lengthy calls in a pro system, and to be able to do that relatively clean. May have burned. Did I burn one? I burned one timeout. That was getting close, and actually I should have let that one go. We might have scored, but for the most part, again, really clean, good with the communication. Our coaches, and they prepped really well. You watch a lot of really good football teams. If you watch some early last week on the road, uncharacteristically making a bunch of penalties, and we didn't do that. And that's a good sign that our coaches had them prepared and our players really were focused and really diligent. I think, if anything, we were a touch late off the ball, which happens in that environment, and that added to some of the negative yardage and some of the lack of success in the run game as well, and in the pass game, just when the silent count, when it's that loud, we were a touch late off the ball. We got to continue to improve in that area, and that could help us as well.
Your defense played well in the second half of the shutout.
Let me finish that same point.
Does that show up sometimes when maybe a guy gets off balance or something?
It does in a late jump on the ball, where we were getting beat off the ball too quick, and that's to a defense's advantage when you're at home, because that crowd noise and they can't hear the snap count if you're silent, and it's to their advantage, and you've seen us use that well at home. Remember when we had Josh Allen and he wanted it loud, he wanted to get the jump on the offensive line, and there was a time or two where we were a little late Saturday, but outside of that, we handled it very well. I'm sorry.
Defense played well in the second half of the shutout.
Mm-hmm.
What does that say about your defensive progression, playing on the road in that environment?
Well, defensively, I think, as I mentioned post-game, very well. Coach White and the defense staff had a great plan, and the players executed it. They played extremely hard. We didn't get, we weren't oozing. We weren't giving up, soft yards where, maybe a 3-yard run turns into 5. And, you know, we were pretty stout at the line of scrimmage. We were really good on containing the quarterback. We were really good at pulling him up when he did scramble out of the pocket. Our guys looked fast. We were running them down and not letting them get settled. You know, changed up a lot of looks, but just overall played really stout.
Brad said after the game, Ty and Carrington were kind of like the unsung heroes in the secondary. What did you see from those two guys specifically?
Yeah, well, Ty really, he covered us up one time in particular. We got a little out of sync with a call and miscommunication, and heck, he came out of his middle third and made it for about a 4-yard gain when it could have been a really explosive play. And that's the type of, you know, open field tackle at a guy that got to erase something, a mistake, and that's what you expect out of a secondary run sport player, you know, or secondary player. You know, do your job and then play ball. And he did that. And then Carrington really made some competitive plays. He won some one-on-ones. And if you're going to beat a team like that on the road, you got to win some one-on-ones against tough matchups, and he did that.
And what did you see from Jordan Love when he came in for Jalen?
I saw Jordan really improve and take another step in the right direction. It's just getting reps under his belt, getting confidence, communicating, executing, being, you know, just being more dialed in, and that comes from experience. You know, playing safety, there's a lot of things, and we practice hard, a lot of different shifts, you know, formations, just a lot of things, but things change, and things change in a hurry out on the practice field, and reps and experience helps. Yeah.
Marquise Smith, after the game, said his pick 6 pass, he knew it was coming before Richardson threw it.
Well, yeah, he did, and I mean, we know what route was coming out of that. They had hit us a little bit with us. We were anticipating some of that, and we have different ways where we could match that, where we could play some more man. And long story short, I mean, he felt that was coming, and I don't know whether they had a miscommunication or did change the play, because their running back ran what we were expecting, and he actually ran a go. I don't know if he felt him sitting on it or he ran by it, but we were ready for the smash, and he jumped it.
The film study you all that he's done. What does that say about the prep that your veterans have put in, and a good example?
Well, it is. It's a good example, and you know, again, you know, they were scratching where it itches. You know what I mean? We gave it up a few times, and then, you know, we put it, you know, one. He read it that time. If you're gonna make that kind of throw that far, you know, you got to have some DBs ready to jump that. So we get that into the boundary a lot. Sometimes to the field, that's a long throw, and he had really good eyes, and made it a nice play.
Mark, two quick. One, just sorry, but for a quick clarification, there was a report that there was an eligibility investigation. Can you confirm that or not?
I told you I'm not commenting on that.
Sorry. And then secondly, Youngstown coming in here, I just wonder how much of just sort of your philosophy, the person you are as a person, the coach, how much of it comes from growing up around there in that environment, a football environment?
A huge part. You know, pretty well documented after X amount of years coaching. I'm getting very old now, but you know, I think Coach, you know, growing up in Youngstown has as much to do with the identity of myself and anybody that comes from there. It's a very unique place, great pride, you know, coming from that area, and a toughness. You know, it's the Rust Belt. It's, you know, blue collar steel mill town, and very fortunate to grow up there. It was a fantastic place, and football was extremely important. Sports were important and competitive, and you know, fortunately, my father was a high school coach, and I got to spend time watching him and the way he influenced others, and coaching at such a great school at Cardinal Mooney, and legendary head coach Don Butchie, who's still close to us, and so it was really, you know, it was a blessing. It was very tough and very difficult, but I had no idea what I had and didn't have. You know, it felt like, you know, it was, you know, then it was just a great place to grow up, and very close friends still to this day.
Do you, as a guy in this position,
I'm sorry, let me finish this call.
I wonder what it means to you as a coach now in your position in an SEC school to be able to bring them in here and just give them a game here?
Yeah, it's you know, I'm really proud that they're coming in. I'm looking forward to it, and I know how tough they are, and you know, what type of program and the history that they have, and you know, they're not going to be intimidated, you know, so that's all good, and you know, there's a connection there, but at the end of the day, you know, they're coming in here to beat us and play well, and we have a job to do, and it's our job to keep that intensity and keep that focus and keep on improving.
Yeah, Mark, speaking of Youngstown State playing, there's any sense of nostalgia in playing against your hometown team?
I mean, it is. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. It's a program I'm close with. I've watched them, you know, I mean, watched my uncle coach there for years and years, and the great sense of pride my Uncle Bob has, and in the national championships that he won there, and coaching with Coach Tressel and now Coach Phillips and the job that they're doing. I mean, you know, yes, I think it'll be, it's unique, it's different, but however, every situation, you hear me talk about it every week. I talk to my team about it. The situation is what it is. You know, last week we were talking about going on the road, hostile environment, first SEC game. This is a new scenario, you know, and so we can't, you know, the situation, we talk about it, we address it, and, you know, we move on.
Mark, this summer there was a lot of talk about getting rid of these FCS games if the SEC goes to 9 or 10 games. Just where do you stand right now? What do you think the schedule should look like?
I mean, you know, Youngstown State, this is a big game for them. You know, they compete and they depend on these games as well, and I like supporting them in that area. And again, they're not going to be intimidated. They're going to come in here to win the football game.
From road game number 1 to last Saturday, what has it been like to see the Kentucky contingent that travels, the fans, the parents? What has it been like to see that grow over the years?
Yeah, it's incredible, really, the response, you know, from our fan base. It's everybody was very excited heading into this football season, and you know, the opening day atmosphere here was fantastic. It was a lot of fun, and then to go on the road and to feel their energy, feel their presence. They were very loud. You know, that stadium gets rocking, and it was great atmosphere. But when they got quiet, it was great to hear the Big Blue Nation, and looking forward to getting back home and playing for them.
Freshmen usually take a while to come along, but I think about Keys playing him, scoring that touchdown. Are you surprised at how well he's playing at this point, or is he everything you thought he would be when you recruited him?
Yeah, I think you've heard me talk quite a bit. Just about every news conference I've talked about Dane and you know, just his maturity and his consistency for a freshman to this point. There's a long season to go.
You know, typically, like, you're going to show up this meeting today and we got to clean this up. What are some of the, not to dwell on mistakes, but what are the things you all got to improve from that game?
Well, I think, again, the offensive line and communication, targeting the right guys, getting in good sets, you know, getting positive yardage, you know, not getting negative yardage plays or 1-yard gains. I mean, we need to get those, even if it's a tough look. I mean, we have to get back to getting 3 or 4 yards instead of 1 or 2. And, you know, that's a big difference on a play caller. You know, we can't get behind the chains and constantly live in that environment. You know, I felt like defensively, you know, it was a good start. Got put in some bad field position. Offense was having trouble moving it, gave up some yards, but to dig in and hold them to field goals kept us in the game. And then ultimately getting the turnover, you know, was a big piece. So there's many areas that we need to continue to improve, and I think we will. And I think Rich did a really nice job putting us in a position to be successful to win the game. And now there's some, you know, strides that we need to make across the board offensively to continue to piece it all together.
After the game, Will put his hand up and said that sack was on me. That guy was free. I got to be responsible for him. Just how is can you just elaborate on how the pass protection isn't, you know, it isn't just an offensive line thing?
Yeah, it's never just an offensive line thing. I think there was one play in there that we could control as coaches. I think there's a play in there where Will knows it was hot, you know, and so there's 2 right there that are very fixable, that have nothing to do with talent, you know, nothing to do with blocking them.
Mark, it's heartening to you, I guess, for the ground game, that even though you yet to get 100 net rushing yards, that you've just been getting enough to kind of provide balance and kind of getting that power where you need, like with Cavassier.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you're going to get sometimes. I mean, when you're, you know, that's, you know, NFL style. I mean, you know, we had 60 some plays again, 63, 64 plays. I mean, now we had a lot more possessions. Fortunately, defensively got off the field a lot. The longest possession they had, I want to say, was 7 plays until the very end, and so that's pretty good. So we're getting the ball back, and so we had more possessions, but still not a lot of plays, and that's okay. And so you got to get the, I know from many years of being a defensive coach and defense coordinator, aggravating yards are aggravating yards. And you've heard me say it even since I've been here. You may look at the stat sheet and not be blown away and not be wowed. However, when you're getting 5 yards, 6 yards like we did in the second half, 10-yard runs, 6-yard runs, that pisses you off as a defense coordinator, and it keeps you off balance.
Coach, how many tickets have you had to ask for? I know you mentioned family company.
Yeah. I think everybody left me alone last week, so I'm like, oh, it's not so bad. Well, I just talked to Mark Hill. I'm like, hey, I need some help here. So yeah, I think it's starting to come out. I think everybody wanted to let me get through that game and get prepared for this one. So yeah, we'll have I'd say between all the Youngstown people, my brother Mike, Frank Buffano, Courtney Love, Vince Morrow. I mean, there'll be hundreds.
Along those lines, you probably have to talk to players from time to time that go back to Florida or teams that come in here and play hometown. How do you anticipate talking to yourself about handling all the?
Yeah, there's a balance there. Even in game 1, I had my uncles up here and a lot of people, and there's a time when I just got to separate and focus on what I have to focus on, and that'll be much the case here this week. I'll have a lot of folks come in early, which is Thursday night, and get to spend some time and relax a little bit Thursday, and Friday get back into getting ready for the game. And the same with Saturday. It's an early game, so I won't see as many. Like sometimes if it's a night game, there's a lot of people drifting in and out, and I just I can't get distracted like that. It does pull you away. So but through the years, I've learned to how to manage that, and that'll be much the same here this week.
On those lines, what was your phone like just from Saturday to now?
That was difficult. I think I responded to most. I have maybe a few more to clean up, but yeah, I mean in the 300 range. So yeah, it's hard to manage, but I greatly appreciate. Let me say this, because even on Twitter and like in my former players, former coaches, and people that I greatly appreciate them. Really, I mentioned it afterwards, but it's so true. The current players and the past players, all the way back to 13, and all the past coaches, just have such great appreciation and respect for and love. Because there's a lot of just terrific people that have been through here that I greatly appreciate.
Brad's been getting a lot of attention, rightfully so, for his game plan this week. I know you're heavily involved with that too, but what were you most impressed with?
Yeah, I just felt like we were thoroughly prepared. I felt like Brad has there were some things that he'd been working on. We worked on through camp that we didn't maybe break out in game 1, and and so there were good change-ups. The guys were in really good position. When you don't miss many tackles and really are that firm in containing the football, containing the deep passes, everything that went into it, that's a sign of a really good plan. And Brad is to credit for that. Brad and his staff, they did a very good job and really, were well prepared and had the guys mentally ready to go, and the whole bit.
Well, we got a chance to witness your enthusiasm in the locker room after the game. How long did it take you to come down from that excitement?
Not long. I've been pretty even keeled this year, haven't you? You should tell that, So, no, I mean, the players, heck, when I went in there, I let them have their fun for a while. They had the music going and were enjoying it and enjoying. They should, they work hard and as I mentioned, the first game, you walk in there and I'm like, what's going on here, man? It's not like we lost, and so, but I think that's a good sign. I think they were like, okay, we're ready for the next step. Let's, And just like I addressed after game one, like, let's get to work, let's improve, let's get ready for game two. And now the challenge is how do we keep that, energy? How do we keep that consistency to prepare to be the best team we could be and continue to build?
So the players are seeing these games more of as a business trip or a business
Well,
trip?
we went in there totally business trip last week. We knew that, and, we addressed it again, and I was asked that question last week. There are guys that haven't been in that situation. They responded very well. They went and played. I mean, you look at the guys that stepped up and played, maybe they didn't have as many numbers as they did in game one, but they still had a big impact in the game. And look at the big play Dion made late in the game there was one of the bigger plays of the game as well for us. What's that?
And along those lines, looking ahead to the next game, you guys always remind us the most important one's the next one, obviously. But in generally speaking, what are the most important lessons that your team will take away from that win in Gainesville?
Well, I think, it's the respect of the game and the preparation is, you've heard me say this many times, but everybody wants to win on Saturday. What are they doing today to help us win the game? And that is a true process. And I know that word gets thrown around a lot, but there's things we have to do on Monday. There's things we have to do on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and so on, all the way through right up to the game. And, there was interesting, we have, fortunately, we work hard with the leadership development and all that, but one of our talks in the summer showed a picture of Yusuf Corker, studying his playbooks 5 minutes before we went out to the bowl game, and that was pointed out to them because, like, that preparation does not stop, literally, till the moment we exit and take the field. And, that's the attention to detail and the commitment that they have to have all the time.
Mark, looking at the Youngstown tape, how does how's Bryce Oliver doing?
Yeah, Bryce is a good football player, just like we thought when we recruited him. And, sometimes those guys just need that opportunity and reps and get playing because a lot of times as you play, you get better. And you've heard me talk about the talented guys we have on our roster right now. We've got to get them playing some more, and that's the plan. The really good ones that we feel like, we got to get some more snaps for him. And Bryce is doing a really good job. I'm really proud of him and really happy for him.
How did Tavion